A changed life always begins with a changed heart. You need to remember that. Maybe something to jot down somewhere for you to remember. But if you're wanting a changed life, you need to remember that it all begins with a changed heart. Changed hearts result in changed lives. It was when Jacob met face to face with God that things began to change for the better in his life. If we don't personally meet with God and allow God to do a supernatural work in our hearts, we will never see the transformation that needs to take place in our lives. Spiritual change in our lives always begins with a spiritual change in our hearts. Way too many people are trying to reform their lives with their own power, when in reality, what they need is for God to transform their lives with His power. God can do in your life what you cannot do yourself in your life. Right? Most of us have certainly come to that conclusion throughout the years. We cannot fix ourselves, but rather God in His supernatural resurrecting power is able to transform our lives. But it all begins with a changed heart, and a changed heart takes place when we meet face to face with God. When we come in contact with Him on a daily basis, and He begins to work on the inside, on our hearts, then our lives begin to change on the outside. And that's what we've discovered with Jacob here in the book of Genesis. We also learned this, number two, the battle with our old flesh is an ongoing battle. How many of you realize that when you got saved, you didn't lose your old sin nature? Do you realize that by now? If we lost our sin nature at the moment of salvation, we would never sin again. Now that would be a dream come true, right? That would be wonderful. We'd all say, boy, that would be great. But the fact is, that is not true. Sin is a reality in a believer's life. You see, life transformation begins at the moment of salvation, but then it continues until we see Jesus one day face to face.